Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy J Rock. Today I'm gonna be hitting you with a movie review. Now, this is not really gonna be a review, it's gonna be kind of like a versus battle. We're gonna be talking about the Justice League Snyder Cut. Now, we're gonna compare it to the original theatrical release, which had a few changes and a lot of things taken out and so forth. We'll see what made it better, what made it worse, and at the end of the day, was it better than the original? Okay, so we're gonna kind of see a few screenshots and compare the scenes, how the minor changes and how the graphics look different and so forth. And we'll just kind of see how this video goes. All right, guys? All right, so let's dig into it. Is it worth watching, first of all? Yes, you get a whole lot of extra information. A lot of it you don't need, but some of it you do need. So it's worth watching for the parts that you do need because it helps flesh out the story and the characters. Some of this stuff I wish it would have stayed on there, but there was a lot of stuff on the Snyder Cut that you really didn't need, and I see why it was removed, and some stuff that would have worked against the film. Like there was a lot of cyborg scenes that were deleted, and I think they were crucial, they were important for the character. There was a lot of them that you really did not need. Like there were so many flashbacks with Cyborg and with other characters that, because Cyborg has these flashbacks where he could kind of we could see in the future of where the future's going if we take this action or this action. We didn't need those scenes. They were totally useless. It was good to get rid of them. But you did need scenes that explained about the character itself. I felt those should have stayed on there. And then you had scenes that made him come off as very whiny and annoying. And I'm glad those did not stay there because they would have made the character more unlikable. So I wish some of the scenes would have stayed there. Like I said, would have made the movie a little longer, but you kind of needed them. And then in the Whedon cut, I think they replaced those scenes with a lot of scenes with this family, right? Like this man and his kids, right? His daughters. Apocalypse, the aliens are coming, he's trying to save them. And at the end, Flash comes and saves that family. You did not need those scenes in the Whedon one either. I think he replaced a lot of those cyborg scenes with his family. That was useless crap. It could have been gone on both films. That didn't add nothing to the movie. If anything, it kind of ruined a lot of the pacing for me on the theatrical release. So that's one thing that the theatrical one didn't need, and some of the cyber stuff the Snyder Cut didn't need. Now, when we get to the Flash character, man, he came off a lot more likable here in the Snyder Cut. A lot more likable. He didn't come off as douchey and annoying as he did on the Whedon cut. We didn't give him all these extra scenes that were not in this movie. He was trying to be funny, but this actor himself didn't know how to nail those scenes. They came out awkward and like it made the character look almost like mentally slow. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't know why those scenes were there on the Whedon one. They should have been removed, and they were not on the Snyder one, so that's good. Then on the Snyder one, you had this scene where he's saving this girl that gets hit by a car. It didn't. I mean, yeah, it made the character look heroic, I guess, but you didn't really need it. I felt the scene on the Whedon was a little bit more funnier, where he draws this glasses on this guy when they're waiting in line in the bank, I believe. That was more funnier. It gave it a little bit of a comedic tone with the Flash character. I like that scene stayed and the other one got removed. But I hate a lot of the other scenes that they kept with the Flash character on the original version. I wish those would have been removed as well. I feel like neither one had a lot of good scenes with Flash as far as the original or the Snyder cut. But there was this one scene I really liked on the original one where they're digging the grave and Flash is trying to get to know Cyborg, and he's having a little conversation with him while they're digging this grave. That one was in the original one, and it wasn't on the Snyder cut. So I like that they added that scene. I thought it kind of was hoping to try to build a bond or a friendship between the two characters, between Flash and Cyborg. The colors, for the most part, I was not a fan of the Snyder cut colors. I get it, they were going with the darker colors for a darker tone, like give a darker mood. But man, they were way too dark. And then what's the point of having a 4K TV, super high def and so forth, if you can't see all these special effects, if it's just dark, right? The point is, the more colors you have, you need more colors to have things pop and give a contrast, right? So it has to have a lot of different types of blues, a lot of different types of purples and so forth. And when you're using these dark tones, you only have like one purple, one blue. So it feels like you're just using an old TV from back in the days, right? Like it was a poor decision. They needed to go with the brighter colors. It adds more, and it justifies your purchase of buying these new, more expensive TVs, right? You want all those extra colors, so that made no sense. I would have stayed with though. There was some scenes towards the end where the dark tone, the dark colors, really flourished, and it was like, oh, like they look so much better with this dark shades and so forth. But for the most part, for like 90% of the movie, the brighter colors I felt were better. Let's get to Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf itself, he had me personally. I already let you guys know. I kind of like the original design better than this new one. This one's just all metallic. It's like feels uninspired, but it does have some cool thing where like yes, spiders crawling around him all the time, and they're making always this weird like cricket noises, which made it look darker or sound darker, right? Which I like that. I wouldn't mind if the design on the original cut would have had those spiders and that noise. That was pretty cool. It made them seem more like eerie. So I would have liked that. But the design itself, I like it a lot more on the original theater one. The Snyder Cut one, it felt unpolished, like an unfinished design. Now the character itself on the Snyder Cut, he came off a lot more vicious. Like he felt like a lot more of a threat. A lot of scenes where he's choking women out, chopping heads off, chopping arms off. He was very vicious and like he felt scary. Unfortunately, a lot of those were cut off because they're just fight scenes, right? You don't need the fight scenes to be so long. So they need to cut stuff off. That's what they're gonna cut off first, right? I wish I would have kept some of them though because it added to the feel of the character. He felt more menacing. Okay, so as far as Steppenwolf and the ending, man, they took him out very viciously in the Snyder Cut. I loved every minute of it, and the ending with Darkseid right there, loving it, loving it. That's a 10 out of 10. The ending ended in a very high note. On the original one, Steppenwolf looks so lame. He got taken out by his own demon eyes just because he lost his axe. He looked like a weenie. He was never really that intimidating. He never felt like a big bad during the whole movie because they cut all the good scenes off. So on the Snyder Cut, they left a lot of stuff where he looked vicious. I wish I would have left the part where he tosses the horses around and the ending where he gets decapitated. That I wish would have stayed in the original one. A lot of the other stuff he's doing is kind of like gore and violence porn. You don't really need it. It's kind of gratuitous, but it's just there, to make him look more vicious. It can be overdone though. When you're watching it, you're like, damn, like more of this. So it didn't really need to be there. But a few of the scenes should have stayed just so you could get a feel for how vicious the character is. The dark side scenes and the scenes where Steppenwolf is talking to this other god or whatever, a lot of them you didn't need. It dragged on the movie more. Sometimes it even killed the pacing. I felt the best dark side scenes, the ones they should have left, are the ones I included in this video. That would have been good. You didn't need a lot of the other ones. Also, the pacing, obviously, it dragged out a lot. So you didn't need it to be 4 hours. That's just common sense, right? Now, last but not least, the order in which these scenes are done. Now, the Snyder Cut has the scenes in a completely different order, and I just edited them here so they could be in the same order as the theatrical, so I could compare them side by side, right? I thought they were a mess in the Snyder Cut, the order they were in. A lot of times they didn't make sense. They shouldn't have been, like, for example, right away in the beginning, Bruce Wayne's already talking to Aquaman, saying, hey, you're Aquaman, I'm Bruce Wayne, I'm forming a team. And in the first 5 minutes of the movie, he's telling them all this. That was like way too early in the movie. You should have had some build up to it, which it does in the theatrical release. So a lot of these scenes are all out of in a weird order that they shouldn't have been in. And they're also here, it's very raw and uncut. So they almost feel like episodes. One episode is about Cyborg's origin. One episode is Flash's origin. One episode is this. So they feel episodic. It even tells you every 30 minutes, chapter 2, chapter 3, like episode 2, episode 3. It's like they did it in episodes and then they just left it in that order. And in the original movie, they put it in an order that made more sense and the pacing felt better. So, needless to say, there's a lot of things I really like about the Snyder Cut and a lot of information we needed, but there's also a lot of stuff we didn't need. And then a lot of the scenes that were in both movies was better done in the Whedon ones. But then there was a few scenes that were better done also in the Snyder Cut. So overall, I felt like the Snyder Cut was just a lot of raw footage, unfinished, but it had more information. And the original release was better edited, more polished, but the story wasn't as fleshed out, and it felt unfinished. Like they left out a lot of information that you probably needed, so it felt like an unfinished movie. So unfortunately for me, I would say like you kind of have to watch both to get the full experience. So that's like 2 hours of the theatrical release, 4 hours of the Snyder Cut. You need 6 hours of film to feel, that's like 3 movies, to feel like you got the full experience of just one movie. If you get bits and pieces from one movie and bits and pieces from the other, and somehow figure out a way to trim it down to a 2.5 hour movie, that would have been ideal, right? That's what we would have wanted. And I think it adds a lot to it when you watch this Snyder Cut one. When you watch it, it adds a lot to the experience. It feels more fulfilling, and like the movie made more sense plot-wise. The music itself, I personally liked the original music a lot more. It gave it more energy. It was more like to get you hyped up. And the Snyder Cut had a lot of slow, brooding music, kind of depressing even, you know what I mean? And for during the course of 4 hours, a lot of that music can take its toll on you. No pun intended, you know, you're just like, oh, like more of this depressing music, sad tone, dark, moody vibe, dark colors. It can be a lot, especially for 4 hours. And I could see if it was 4 hours of just jokes and nonsense, that would be annoying too. But I personally like that they had the more upbeat music in the original one, because this music was very like sad and depressing all the time. Overall, yeah, check it out. It'll really help you understand the movie more if you haven't already seen the Snyder Cut. It'll help you understand the original movie. It'll make for a better story, more fleshed out, like I said. Let me know what you guys thought about this. Let me know what you guys think about the Steppenwolf costume. Everybody seems to like the new one more. Am I the only one that likes the original one? So anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And other than that, hopefully you hit the like button, and I'll check you guys out next time.